Hey, this is Matt with NDI Systems. Just a quick video to show you our CNG hybrid system on our 2003 Chevy Duramax. I bought this truck with 190,000 miles on it, and I put the natural gas on as soon as I bought it. Now it has 228,000 miles on it, almost 230,000 miles. So I've put almost 40,000 miles on it with the CNG, and it's been awesome. Never had any problems with the system. Motor's always ran great, still as strong as when I got it. I run it's a 13-gallon tank, 13.5-gallon tank under the diamond plate cover, so typically I get, on a good fill, 12 gallons if it's totally empty. I actually bought this truck. It was really beat up. It was a construction truck, so I completely repainted it. Obviously did the wheels and tires and everything. So my fill port is just right next to my tank there. Some guys want it under their hood. We do that a lot, is get them set up with a fill valve to go under the hood. Show you real quick the system. So the biggest difference with our system, obviously there's a few options you can order. Our system is completely bolt up and plug in. All the other systems you have to wire into your factory wiring harness. That's not necessary with ours. We made it so you don't have to cut into the wiring harness. You don't have to mess with that at all. It's stress-free. You just bolt up. We custom make the brackets for each truck or car. The brackets bolt right up. The brackets bent to the right angle for your truck. Bolts right up, and then wires plug in. No cutting wires and measuring for length. We do that before we ship you the system. So the regulator's mounted there, obviously, with the high pressure line coming out of the regulator, goes back to the tank, and then we use a dual diaphragm regulator. We found that the most efficient for a diesel. And when you order a kit, it'll be preset to give your truck 50% natural gas, and that's what we recommend. Some guys turn it up a little bit, or sometimes turn it down a little bit, but we do recommend 50% or maybe a little bit less. So obviously the CNG is just fed pre-turbo on the intake, and we use a ball valve to choke that down a little bit if you want to turn it down. That'll come preset though to give you 50%. And I'm running my PSI sensor for my tank on my actual edge monitor. So that's what that sensor is coming out of the regulator. You'll either have that or just a regular gauge that plugs into your changeover switch. I'll show you that inside here. So, wait for my monitor to turn on here. So you can see on my monitor, this is the Insight CTS. This monitor I highly recommend. It'll check your troubled codes or anything, any code that the motor might throw, and you can reset those. And you can see I've got the CNG tank pressure. A full tank is a little over 3,000 psi, so you see I'm at 955 pounds. That means I'm at about a third of a tank. And I have an exhaust probe hooked up. That's the EGT. That's real important to watch if you have a chip or if you have natural gas in your truck, any performance thing. You just want to watch those EGTs on the hills pulling, or if you're really getting after it. So it's showing It's kind of a glare, I don't know if you can see that. But it's showing I'm averaging right now 25.4 miles to the gallon. That is actually mostly around town, and I know most truck computers are way off. They'll say you're getting 25 and you're really getting 21 or 22. Mine used to be really off, but I put new injectors in about just 2 or 3 months ago. I put brand new Bosch injectors in my truck, so since I did that, my fuel mileage computer has actually been accurate, believe it or not. So I've checked it at the pump a few times, and that's what I'm legitimately getting. Down here, that dial box, that's a changeover switch. So those blinking lights, that's actually your gauge. So on a full tank of CNG, all of them blink like that. I don't have the gauge hooked up because I'm running it on my Edge monitor. So if I did have the actual gauge hooked up, it'd just be showing one green light because I am down to like 1/3 to 1/4 of a tank. And then we use a toggle switch just to make it easy. If that toggle switch is off, that means there's no power going to the CNG regulator and your CNG is not running. As soon as if you flip it on, it lights up. That way you know your CNG's on. We just like to have that switch, so if you are pulling a heavy load up a hill or anything, and you're worried about your exhaust temps or anything else, you can just flip off your CNG real quick. And then I like to let my truck idle in the morning for 5 or 10 minutes when it's cold, especially in the winter. We're in Utah here, so it's been real cold in the winters. I've been letting my truck idle, and then I usually go down the street a few blocks and get my truck at least close to regular running temperatures, and then I'll flip the CNG on. Now we'll go hit the highway, the freeway, and do a little road test. So I have EFI Live, and I'm on a kind of a medium tune right now. It's fine to run the CNG with a tune. It's just more power, so just be careful. So getting on the freeway, stepped on it a little bit, you can see how quick I got up to speed there. Tons of power. My transmission's actually stock, so it slips a little bit. So I'll get up to speed, I'll go 70, and I'll reset the fuel mileage computer, and we'll watch that for a minute. So we'll set her right around 70, which I've got bigger tires, so 70 is really probably about 73. So we'll reset that. Let's watch that for a bit. We'll let it kind of average out, drive a few miles. So again, if you have any questions about the system, just call me 801-830-5693, or you can email me, matt@NDISYSTEMS.com, and I'll answer any questions you have. But our goal is just to have a system, because shops charge so much to install these on trucks and cars. Our goal is just to have a system that is super easy for someone to install on their own. That's why we developed it in a way that you don't have to tap into your wiring harness. You don't have to worry about any of the stock computers or anything. Once the system's hooked up and running, you should be pretty close to 50% CNG. We just have you do a 60 mile road test and check your calibration and your mileage, and then give me a call or an email and let me know where you're at, and then I'll tell you how to adjust a few settings from there to fine tune it. Our system does not use a stepper motor. We found that the stepper motor on a diesel is just more electronic stuff to wire and another thing that could go out, and so far we have our system on over 40 trucks at least, and they're all tuned for between 40 and 60%, and they've all been completely consistent and stayed tuned in right where they're at, and everyone's been happy and loved it. No problem so far. Our system will have a 1-year warranty on everything. After that, if for some crazy reason you did have a problem with parts or anything, give me a call and I'll at least give you the replacement part for cost and make sure you're taken care of. So average mileage here on the highway going 70, it's setting right in at about 32, and my truck is actually tuned for a 45% CNG, so it's actually running a little bit less than 50% CNG. And again, my odometer is, or my mileage computer is accurate, where most trucks kind of exaggerate a little bit. Mine's dead on, and I like to be honest and realistic with customers. If your truck's averaging 15 miles to the gallon on the freeway, or 16, if you run 50% natural gas, that's gonna double. So you should be able to go from 15 or 16 to 30 to 32 running the natural gas. And power increase 100 horsepower or more from there. And then with the exhaust temps, the EGT, on the highway cruising, if I turn off the CNG, just turn it off, EGTs usually just pretty much stay where they're at. The only time that you would really need to watch that is pulling a load up a hill, or if you're just stepping on it, getting after it. Obviously, anytime you put extra fuel into the intake of the diesel, your exhaust temps can go up. So I do recommend just running a gauge and watching your exhaust temps. But overall, the system's been awesome. We're real reasonable on price, super competitive, especially since we spend the extra time to cut your wiring to length and actually build a custom bracket. Most other kits are just super generic. Ours is more specified and custom to your truck, your model year, and everything else. And I'll make sure to immediately answer any phone calls or emails with questions you have. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any other questions about the system.